Good morning, everyone. Today, I will present the results of our study mapping the global infrastructure for countering climate disinformation, a tool ecosystem review. My name is Monika Mačiulienė. I'm coming from Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania, and we prepared this presentation together with my colleague Aelita Skaržauskienė. So, climate disinformation undermines the democratic discourse, impedes evidence-based policymaking, and weakens public trust in climate science. In response, the European Union and other international organizations have recognized the need to safeguard the integrity of the information space, particularly concerning climate. So the study that I'm presenting is part of the Climate Sense project, international project, which aims to develop an integrated AI-enabled and geospatial infrastructure to detect, analyze, and counter climate disinformation. So I will begin by shortly introducing the Climate Sense project, then explain the research context, methodology, main results, and implications for future work. So Climate Sense, as I mentioned before, is a research initiative funded under a Chestera program. Its objective is to advance computational and qualitative methods for identifying and analyzing climate disinformation across digital media ecosystems. The project combines artificial intelligence with geographic information systems to create a multidimensional platform capable of mapping where and how climate narratives spread. So by integrating social media data, fact-checking resources, and open science repositories, Climate Sense platform will enable researchers, policymakers, and civil society actors to respond to disinformation in a coordinated and evidence-based manner. At least this is the goal. So this mapping of global tools forms an initial and foundational step in this process, helping us to understand existing capacities and gaps that Climate Sense can address. And if you want to learn more about the project, the link on this slide will directly lead you to our project website. Now, focusing on policy problem and context. The growing sophistication of climate disinformation that we can see right now has made it a defining challenge for contemporary communication and governance. False or misleading narratives and claims now extend beyond simple denial of climate change to include doubts about scientific consensus, the effectiveness of mitigation policies, or the legitimacy of climate activism. These narratives are often amplified through coordinated networks and automated systems. The European Democracy Action Plan and the Strengthened Code of Practice on Disinformation both call for stronger mechanisms to ensure transparency, accountability, and cross-platform cooperation. Our study, as a result, responds directly to these policy priorities by providing an empirical overview of existing counter-disinformation infrastructures and identifying where integration and innovation are most needed. The research sought to answer two main research questions. So the first one, what does the global landscape of platforms and tools addressing climate misinformation look like, and how can their characteristics be systematically mapped? And second, what gaps exist in this landscape, and what opportunities do these reveal for future development? To answer both of these questions, we examined 5 analytical dimensions, including content focus, functional approaches, actors and audiences, geographical distribution, and sustainability models. This framework allowed us to capture both the descriptive structure of the ecosystem and its underlying dynamics. So how different actors intervene, what functions dominate, and which audiences remain underserved by this ecosystem of tools. In terms of research design, our approach followed an iterative mixed method design, combining qualitative and quantitative analysis. Data collection took place in 4 rounds between April and August 2025. We began by drawing from established databases and repositories such as CAT, DSMOC, the International Fact-Checking Network, EDMO, and UNESCO's media literacy resources. These sources were expanded to snowballing sampling, in which links found on platform websites led to additional relevant initiatives, because often they are connected through different projects or networks. A structured data collection template ensured consistency across all entries. And this template recorded information about each platform's mission, activities, target audiences, governance structures, and funding. This iterative design enabled us to expand the dataset while maintaining comparability and methodological transparency. The initial pool of platforms contained 171 entries, drawn from seed sources and web searches. We applied strict inclusion criteria to ensure that platforms were active, interactive, and relevant to climate misinformation. After removing the duplicates, static sites, or inactive links, or inactive platforms which are not working anymore, the final data set comprised of 104 platforms that met all criteria. Each platform addressed climate misinformation either directly through fact-checking, monitoring, or automated detection, or indirectly by providing data and tools that support evidence-based climate communication. This final sample represents the most comprehensive verified collection of digital infrastructures currently operating to counter climate disinformation worldwide. It offers a strong empirical basis for assessing strengths, gaps, and future opportunities in the field. So in terms of the results, the first dimension of analysis concerns the content orientation. So the majority of platforms we analyzed in the sample, about 3/4 of the sample, focus on general climate information. These include scientific dashboards, data portals, or educational tools that strengthen resilience by providing credible information. Only around 1/5 are purpose-built to address climate misinformation directly, such as fact-checking projects, watchdog databases, or automated claim detection systems. A smaller subset, about 7%, address misinformation more broadly and include climate among several issue areas. Overall, the data shows that the ecosystem remains heavily weighted towards information provision rather than directly direct counter misinformation interventions. So this is a crucial balance for future development. Then we looked at functional categories. And in this regard, data and indicator dashboards dominate, representing nearly 60% of tools mapped. So media monitoring and watchdog projects account for about 16%, while educational games and training tools represent only a small fraction. Fact-checking and analytical platforms are surprisingly few. In terms of actors, most platforms are developed by academic or governmental institutions, with limited participation from civil society and almost no private sector involvement. Audience analysis reveals a strong concentration at the science policy interface, about half target scientists and almost as many target policymakers. Fewer initiatives are designed for educators, journalists, and the wider public, leaving key communication intermediaries underserved. Geographically, the landscape is covered unevenly. Nearly 90% of platforms are hosted nationally, and most of these are based in the global north, particularly in United States and Western Europe. Regions most affected by climate impacts and disinformation, especially in the global south, remain underrepresented. Although many platforms claim global scope, they rarely provide content in multiple languages or adapt to local contexts. Regarding sustainability, almost all platforms are free to use, but their funding structures are fragile. Many rely on short-term project grants, philanthropic foundations, or mixed arrangements, and nearly one-fifth do not disclose funding sources at all. This combination of geographic imbalance and financial fragility limits global accessibility and long-term stability and sustainability. In terms of implications and for the broader ecosystem and for Climate Sense project in particular, the mapping reveals a fragmented and uneven ecosystem with several key gaps. So first, direct counter misinformation tools remain scarce, and the dominance of dashboards indicates an over-reliance on static data dissemination. Most platforms are concentrated in global north, and transparency around developers and funding is often lacking or very limited. To address these challenges, Climate Sense will integrate geospatial analysis with AI-enabled detection to produce dynamic, especially explicit maps of climate disinformation. The project will also expand regional and linguistic coverage, and in this way will strengthen transparency and tailor outputs for diverse audiences, such as journalists, educators, and civil society organizations around the world. In this regard, by combining technical innovation with inclusivity and accountability, Climate Sense aims to contribute a new generation of tools that enhance global resilience against climate disinformation. This would be all for my presentation. As I mentioned at the beginning, we just started the Climate Sense project. We are counting the 6th month of the project, so this is only an initial phase. Currently, we are working on interviews and qualitative research and trying to understand the needs of different actors in the ecosystem better. And later stages will be more technical and focused on designing solutions in addressing climate disinformation. This slide has my contact information. So if you are interested or in any collaborations or want to learn more about research, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you and have a nice rest of the day.